Hi, welcome back. So now that we've gone over all the theory behind branches, we're going to actually start working with them in our project. So we're going to start working through them, we're going to create and delete them, and we're also going to start playing around with them, merging them, doing all sorts of things just to get a feel for branches. Now, just a disclaimer, I'm going to be creating a brand new repository because it's very hard to teach the use of branches if you're just incorporating it into an already existing project, and although it is possible, it's not very practical. So I'm going to create a new repository from scratch, and we're going to work with branches from there. So just a little note, I do have this diagram here showing how it's going to work, so how our Git project is going to look. So we have a branch which is our master branch, the release branch. So you can see here we have that. And then we have our development branch. So on the development branch is going to be adding files, modifying, and then on our release branch is going to be our major releases of our software. Now, of course, it's not a real software, but if you would have a real software, it would look like this. So you'd have version 1.0, 1.1, things like that, all the way until your final release. And of course, we could make this more complex with bug fixes, things like that. We could do all sorts of things. But we're not going to do that now. We're going to leave that for some other time. But for now, we're just trying to learn about branches and just get a feel for them. So we're not really trying to mess around with some of the more complex features of branches, making multiple branches, sub branches, things like that. We're just going to leave it to the simple bare bones. So let's get started. I'm going to open up my Ubuntu terminal, and I'm going to cd into my path. Now I'm going to go back one since we're creating a new project, and I'm going to make a new directory called my new software. There we go. So let's cd into it. Whoops, cd my new software. There we go. So let's get started. First thing I want to do is create or initialize an empty Git repository. So I'm going to do git init. Now I'm going to make a few folders, maybe go into them, make a few files. And you see why I'm using the terminal instead of using something like a GUI. It's because it's just much quicker to create these mass files such as this. So file.txt, touch script.js, cd ... So you can see how it just becomes much faster. Or sorry, not make directory, touch lib.py. We're doing all sorts of things. So I'm just setting up the file structure now. Okay, there we go. So we have the basics here set up, and now we're going to start working on creating and moving between our branches. So first thing I want to do is just check the status, see what we have here. We have a bunch of files that are untracked, so I'm going to git add dot. And then I'm going to make a new commit called initial commit. Now remember, you have to make an initial commit before you actually start working on creating branches. Otherwise, your development branch is going to be considered your master branch, and you don't want that to happen since we're trying to consider our release branch our master, as shown in our picture here. I'm actually just going to put that off to the side so that we can take a good look at it while we're working. All right, let's get started. So first thing I want to do is start working on creating a new branch. So there are different ways of creating a branch. The first one is git branch and then the name of the branch. So git branch, whoops. And then you would put the name of the branch here. But the way that I'm going to use is git checkout -b and then the name of the branch. Because what that does is not only does it create a new branch, it also switches to it. So I'm just going to call it dev for development. And I'm going to do that. And there you go. It says switched to a new branch there. So there we go. We have it right like that. Now we don't actually have our commit yet. We just developed the branch, but we haven't connected them just yet. We still need to work a little bit on creating commits and things like that, but we'll do that in the next video. For now, we've created our branch and that's good. But now I want to switch back to our older branch. So our master branch, our release branch. What you would do is just git checkout master. And there you go. Now we're back on our master branch. And if I actually open it up in my folders, of course you won't see any visual difference because it's all the same. We haven't actually made any commits yet. But there we go. We've created a branch. Now what I'm going to do is just create a new branch. I'm going to call it git branch, and then I'm going to call it bugs. So what that's going to do is create a new branch called bugs. There we go. Now if I want to list all of my current branches, I can use git branch -a for all, and that is going to list all of the branches that we currently have. So the star signifies the branch that you're currently on. So in this case it's master. If I actually go and check out something like bugs, like that, and if I go and git branch -a, it's going to show that I'm on the bugs branch. So I'm going to go back to my master branch. Now what if I wanted to delete a branch? So for example, maybe I didn't find a use for it, I don't really need it anymore. How am I supposed to remove it? So it's actually quite easy to remove branches. All you have to do is git branch -d, and then you would specify the name of the branch. So in this case, I want to delete bugs. So it says it deleted branch bugs was B94, B942. It's actually quite a nice ID. But let's not worry about that for now. Let's list all of the branches. There we go. So now we only have 2 of them. So the reason I wanted to sort of show you or go through this quite quick is because we've already looked at all of the different commands, and I'm sure you've realized that it's quite easy to pick up commands here and there, and on top of that you don't really need to memorize them. The whole point of this is to understand the concepts behind them. So we've learned how to create branches and delete them, move between them now, but now that we've created these branches and we can work with them, we want to actually start putting commits on the branches so that we can actually integrate them into our workflow. All right, let's move on.